As we delve into this remarkable period, we uncover a time when ambition fueled the sails of European ships, seeking new routes, new goods, and ultimately new lands. The Age of Exploration, as it came to be known, bridged continents, collided cultures, and reshaped our world forever. Stay curious as we set sail back in time. In the 15th century, Europe was a continent poised for change. With growing economic ambitions and advancing maritime technology, nations began to seek new trade routes and resources. This era, known as the Age of Exploration, would soon unfold, leading to unprecedented global connections and historic discoveries. As Europe emerged from the Middle Ages, the desire for wealth, power, and prestige drove nations to look beyond their borders. The need for new trade routes to access Asian spices and silks, previously hindered by Ottoman dominance, coupled with the promise of gold and glory, set the stage for an age of exploration that would reshape the world. The Age of Exploration was fueled by innovations such as the astrolabe, which navigators used to determine latitude, and the magnetic compass, which improved orientation at sea. Advances in shipbuilding, with the creation of faster, more durable caravels, allowed explorers to venture further, enduring the vast and treacherous oceans. Prince Henry the Navigator, a visionary Portuguese royal, was instrumental in propelling maritime exploration. His fervent support for voyages along the African coast and into the Atlantic saw Portugal pioneering new routes. This ushered in an era of global exploration, as he sought both economic and geopolitical advantages for his nation. The Age of Discovery presses onward as the Portuguese, driven by economic interest and the thirst for knowledge, embarked on daring voyages down the African coast. These explorations, propelled by Prince Henry's patronage, etched new lines on the maps and bridged distant worlds through the routes they pioneered. As explorers ventured further, the lucrative spice trade became a cornerstone of the Age of Exploration. Coveted for their flavor and preservative qualities, spices like pepper, cinnamon, and cloves were worth their weight in gold. European powers sought direct access to these treasures, fueling fierce competition and reshaping global trade. Pivoting from the pursuit of spices, we meet Christopher Columbus, an ambitious navigator. Fueled by the desire to find a westward route to Asia, Columbus believed this path would lead directly to the rich markets of India and China. He proposed his voyage to multiple European monarchs, seeking patronage for his bold endeavor. In 1492, Columbus, under Spanish sponsorship, crossed the Atlantic. His quest for Asia led to an unintended landmark discovery, a previously unknown continent. This new world would forever alter the course of history, opening the floodgates for European exploration and eventual colonization of the Americas. Columbus's return from the Americas marked the dawn of a new era in Europe. The prospect of vast new territories filled with rich resources sent shockwaves of excitement across European monarchies, igniting a fierce competition to claim and colonize these newfound lands, subsequently reshaping European politics and economies. While Columbus initially mistook the Americas for Asia, it was Amerigo Vespucci who contested this claim, recognizing them as a separate landmass. Vespucci's voyages along the South American coast led to the understanding that this was a new continent, eventually bearing his name, America. The new continent was eventually named America after Amerigo Vespucci, who helped confirm that the lands discovered were indeed a new world. It was mapmaker Martin Waldseemüller who first labeled the continent on his map of 1507. Subsequent cartography began to detail these vast, previously uncharted territories, forever altering geographic understanding. As Spain sent expeditions into the heart of the Americas, the conquistadors, driven by tales of opulent cities laden with gold, forged paths through new territories. Amidst this quest, figures like Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro reshaped entire civilizations in their conquests for wealth and glory. As exploratory claims overlapped, conflict loomed between Spain and Portugal. To avert crisis, the Treaty of Tordesillas was signed in 1494, a papal decree that sliced the New World in two. It granted Portugal control over Brazil, while Spain received the rest, profoundly shaping the Americas' colonization. Moving forward, the spirit of exploration pushed boundaries even further. The ambitious Ferdinand Magellan, under Spanish patronage, embarked on a daring voyage in 1519, seeking a western sea route to the Spice Islands. His expedition achieved an unprecedented feat, the first circumnavigation of the Earth, forever altering our understanding of the world. The Columbian Exchange marked a pivotal moment in global ecology. New crops like potatoes, tomatoes, and maize from the Americas revolutionized European agriculture and cuisine. In exchange, Europe introduced wheat, sugar, and horses, reshaping landscapes and lifestyles across the continents in an exchange that was as much biological as it was cultural. As explorers set foot on new lands, they unwittingly unleashed a silent invader: disease. Devastating illnesses like smallpox, influenza, and measles, to which indigenous populations had no immunity, swept across the New World. The mortality rates were staggering, decimating entire communities and irrevocably altering the demographic landscape. In the wake of this demographic collapse, the demand for labor grew, leading to the grim establishment of the Atlantic slave trade. Ships sailed from Europe to Africa, exchanging goods for people, then transported enslaved Africans across the harrowing Middle Passage to the Americas, entrenching a cycle of suffering and exploitation. The cultural exchange between Europe and the Americas was profound. Europeans introduced horses, wheat, and diseases, while receiving tomatoes, potatoes, and maize. This exchange reshaped diets, economies, and cultures globally, setting the stage for a new interconnected world, but also led to significant indigenous population loss in the Americas. Turning our attention to northern explorers, the English, French, and Dutch also made significant inroads into the New World. These nations sought new trading routes and wealth, establishing colonies along the Atlantic coast. Their interactions with indigenous peoples ranged from trade alliances to outright conflict, further shaping the continent's history. Amidst the fervor of exploration, the elusive Northwest Passage became a coveted goal. This potential maritime route through the Arctic promised a shorter path to Asia, a dream enticing many intrepid adventurers. Numerous expeditions braved the icy waters, often facing harrowing conditions in pursuit of this northern sea corridor. The legend of El Dorado, the city of gold, was a tantalizing myth that spurred many explorers to venture into the unknown. Lured by the promise of unimaginable wealth, these quests often led to the mapping of previously uncharted territories, igniting further curiosity and the continuation of exploration throughout the New World. Shifting our gaze to the darker waters of the Age of Exploration, we encounter the rise of privateers and piracy. Governments licensed privateers to attack rival nations' ships, blurring the lines between piracy and privateering. These maritime marauders not only sought treasure, but also played a role in naval warfare and colonial expansion. The Age of Exploration was also a golden era for science. As navigators traversed uncharted seas, their need for precise navigation spurred advancements in cartography and astronomy. The invention of tools like the astrolabe and the cross staff enabled sailors to measure latitude, forever changing our interaction with the world. Missionaries accompanied many voyages, bringing Christianity to new lands as part of colonial policy. The role of religion in colonization was significant, aiming not only to convert indigenous populations, but also to extend European influence. Churches and missions became integral elements in establishing control within conquered territories. The Age of Exploration irreversibly connected disparate parts of the world, setting the stage for our modern global society. Colonial empires grew in wealth and power, leading to vast shifts in geopolitics. However, it also sparked centuries of exploitation and conflict, the echoes of which are still felt today. As explorers charted new territories, they wove the first threads of our global tapestry. Trade routes expanded, cultures intersected, and economies intertwined, which planted the seeds for today's interconnected world. This era set into motion the dynamics of trade and cultural exchange that underpin contemporary globalization. As we marvel at the feats of the Age of Exploration, it's imperative to grapple with its darker aspects. This era was marked by conquest, colonization, and often exploitation. The consequences for indigenous populations were profound, raising questions that challenge us to reflect on the moral fabric of historical progress. As we wrap up our journey through the age of exploration, it's fascinating to draw parallels to today's quests into the cosmos. Just as navigators charted unknown seas, modern scientists propel us into space, both eras driven by curiosity, the promise of knowledge, and the allure of the unknown. The intrepid spirit of the age of exploration echoes through time, influencing our culture and education. Today's history books and maps are complete because of those adventurers, and their tales continue to inspire curiosity, courage, and a desire to explore the unknown in the minds of students and dreamers alike. In conclusion, the age of exploration irrevocably altered the course of human history. It connected continents, reshaped global trade, and laid the foundations of the modern world. The era's legacy lives on, not just in the maps we use, but in the boundless spirit of discovery that continues to drive humanity forward. Thank you for exploring the vivid tapestry of the age of exploration with us today. If you enjoyed delving into history and crave more diverse discoveries, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Spectrum Sphere for a world of discovery delivered to you every week.